Most conversations about artificial intelligence drag you into one of two camps. On one side, the zealots promise a utopia where machines solve every human problem. On the other side, the doomers warn of an impending apocalypse. But this endless debate ignores what the technology is actually doing right now. This is the era of agentic AI. These systems can be assigned a broad goal and left to determine the steps and execute workflows themselves, functioning as autonomous entities that route multiple projects without constant human prompting. This chart shows data from the GDP-Val study, testing AI against professionals with over a decade of experience in law, journalism, and product management. The humans were given a complex problem, taking them, on average, 7 to 8 hours of continuous work to solve. The AI completed the same task in 15 minutes. Speed is only half the story. Veteran judges evaluated the results blindly. In 84% of the cases, they rated the AI's 15-minute output as equal to or better than the human's 7-hour effort. The ability to produce a solid, competent piece of work is no longer a scarce resource. We have access to near-instantaneous, high-quality output on demand, meaning that raw execution can no longer serve as a professional competitive advantage. If artificial intelligence can write your code, optimize your logistics, and generate your marketing materials flawlessly, it can do the exact same thing for your direct competitor. When high-level execution is distributed evenly with no variation across an entire industry, competitive edge evaporates. What remains is a massive vacuum. Digital products, creative writing, and corporate strategies all begin to drift toward the exact same identical tone and style. This is the central paradox of the AI era. When high-level competence is available to everyone, everywhere, the baseline for good work resets. To survive, human labor must provide a value that exists outside of a polished, standardized result. This map visualizes the jagged frontier of AI capabilities. The filled zone represents standardized tasks where the machine excels, while the space outside is nuanced work where it fails. They synthesize data perfectly, but lack authentic voice, humor, or meaning. Many assume young people are naturally better at this technology because they grew up digital. In practice, many act as blind conduits, simply passing along the machine's output without questioning it. The true advantage belongs to experienced workers. Because they have deep domain knowledge, they instantly spot when the machine makes a subtle, worky mistake. They intuitively know what information to prompt for and how to correct the system's logic when it encounters real-world friction. When generating an essay, code, or a report is effectively free, the human ability to critically evaluate and course-correct becomes the market's most valuable asset. AI expert Ethan Mollick identifies this unique human differentiator as taste. Taste is the curation, the variation, and the distinct point of view that a person injects into an otherwise standardized product. We see this in culture. We don't value a director like Wes Anderson because he knows how to operate a camera or schedule a shoot. We value him for his specific aesthetic choices, his quirky pacing, and his irreplaceable style. Future employers will pay a premium for a worker's taste. They will hire for the human perspective, rather than the ability to generate automated output. But this creates a massive structural problem. For 4,000 years, the apprenticeship model has relied entirely on junior employees doing tedious, repetitive grunt work. Doing that work over and over is exactly how a person develops experience and taste. We are facing a societal trap. If AI handles every tedious task, we break the talent pipeline. We risk leaving an entire generation without the friction required to develop the very taste and critical thought that makes them valuable. This trade-off, exchanging mental effort for mechanical speed, isn't a new phenomenon. When electronic calculators entered the classroom, we gladly abandoned mental math to save time and energy. The cognitive shortcut offered by large language models is far more expansive. If we rely on it to write every email, structure every argument, and draft every proposal, we risk surrendering our structural logic entirely. We have to treat learning and thinking as a deliberate, effortful practice. Even when a shortcut exists, we must approach deep focus the same way we approach lifting mental weights at the gym. The modern workplace will no longer naturally force us to think. We have to actively design cognitive friction back into our daily routines to maintain our intellectual edge. Practically, this means changing the way we interact with these systems. Instead of asking the machine for a final, polished answer, we can use it as an adversarial debate partner. By explicitly assigning personas to the AI, you can instruct it to act as a harsh critic picking apart your thesis, or a naive reader pointing out where your explanation gets confusing, forcing you to strengthen your own human arguments. You can also use the system to generate a rapid, messy first draft. This offloads the initial heavy lifting, freeing up your energy to rigorously edit the text and inject your own unique voice. Building tools to make our lives easier is a deeply human activity. To survive the commoditization of competence, we don't need to behave more like machines. We must double down on the friction, the taste, and the lived experience of being human.